add the subsidies to the Affordable Care Act so people's health care premiums don't double. And that's it. That's what the Democrats are asking for.
The premium that your party chose to have subsidies end.
Who cares about health care when you cannot put food on the table?
Why did you support the president when he asked for and got $186 billion of cuts to SNAP?
So as y'all saw from that preview clip, it got really spicy on NewsNight. And I thought this was just the perfect clip to show you just how the Republican mind thinks. Because this is 42 million people that are going to go without food, right? The vast majority of them children, and like their responses are just despicable, deplorable, evil. Like, I don't understand what Christianity they're learning, like what Trump Bible version they got, but they need to go and have a coming to Jesus moment. Y'all, before we get into this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It is free to like, comment, and subscribe and push this out so that other people can also see this content. And thank you for watching. Let's jump right into this.
You know, this is the shutdown that could very well just not end because nobody seems to be that interested in ending it. But for Americans who are on SNAP, this weekend is going to be where they're going to have to face the reality that, honestly, $188 in this economy is not even a whole lot of money for food, but it's going to go away.
I mean, luckily we have the money to bail out Argentina to the tune of $40 billion. And by bailing out Argentina, of course, the Trump administration is helping to bail out the hedge funds invested in Argentina. It's not a good look when the Republican Party won't concede on the one thing that's important here, which is add the subsidies to the Affordable Care Act so people's health care premiums don't double. And that's it. That's what the Democrats are asking for. But Republicans refuse to sign on to that. And if we're going to keep having this dysfunctional government situation or congressional situation year after year, I mean, they're still collecting my taxes. Why are they collecting my taxes? For what? And what's the important work that Mike Johnson is doing right now and the Republicans are doing right now? Does anyone know? I mean, there's some Republicans on the panel right now. Can you guys tell me the important work they're doing?
All Republicans want is for Democrats to do what Democrats have demanded others do time and time again. What Democrats themselves have done: vote for clean CRs.
Do you think that premium should double?
Do you think premium should double? That your party chose to have subsidies end.
This is a product of the Democratic Party's own.
They're not fighting to extend the ACA credits. They don't care to extend the ACA credits. You heard him. He said, this is the Democrats. This is y'all's fault. Y'all the one who gave people health care. Like, well, why the fuck would you give them health care for? That's basically what he's saying. He's basically saying, why did you give them health care? Because now that you're giving them health care and they understand what it feels like to not have that weight on top of them, you expect us to continue to subsidize it? Remember, America is the only country, we are the richest country in the world, and we're one of the only first world countries that don't provide healthcare as a right. Does that make any sense to you? Like, y'all tell me what y'all think about that in the comments. Does that make sense that the richest country in the world can't afford healthcare, but countries that make way less money than us, way less money than the state of California, the state of Texas, can afford to give their citizens health care? Y'all let me know what y'all think about that in the comments. And let's keep on listening, y'all.
Should the premiums double?
Now they're looking and they're trying to point the finger at the Republican Party.
It's a simple question. Should the premiums double?
Should they open up the government? The answer is yes.
The government will open
up the government
if they give the Democrats the one thing they're asking for, which is a just issue.
You want to talk about premiums, and we just talked about SNAP benefits. Who cares about health care when you cannot put food on the table? You have millions
SNAP
of
benefits
Americans,
are important too.
You have a lot of Americans that are going to be without food stamps.
So you want the Democrats to sign on to funding the government in a situation in which the premiums will double for Americans who already have a difficult time paying for their health insurance.
10 years ago.
What is the difference of the bill? What is the difference for the bill
about the
that you
well-being of the
voted for?
American people?
There's a big difference.
This is a new Democratic Party.
I have to say, it's amazing to get lectures on how much you care about SNAP benefits.
Because I have family members on SNAP.
Then why did you support the president when he asked for and got $186 billion of cuts to SNAP?
They were cleaning up the program from waste, fraud, and abuse.
Oh my
you
God,
and I both
that
know
is
that.
all ridiculous.
Because you cannot have a program.
No. From those
straw man's argument.
No,
you cannot have.
And she's exactly right to get on him about this. First of all, this is the party of anti-AB, and just you can't have one. They want people to just have babies. And they don't believe in healthcare. I can tell you as a mother of 2 boys, it's extremely expensive to have a baby. My first baby, I did not have healthcare. I did not. have health care. Well, I had health care, but I had health care from my university. And just to get my baby circumcised was $700. $700. And I had health care via my university because they force you to get health care when you have a science lab. It took me 2 years to pay off that $700 because I was in college. It was mad expensive. These are the same people that constantly are preaching having kids. You can't have abortions. You can't do any of these things, but they don't want to give health care. In what world does that make sense? And they wonder why young people are choosing to hold off on starting families. But let's keep on listening, y'all.
Those people, I'm sorry, you just paid for you took $186 billion out of the SNAP program, $186 billion that will go
waste, fraud, and abuse.
It's not waste, fraud, and abuse. You like to say that, but it's actually false.
Look at what we actually.
And that reminds me about what I was going to say before I got down that hole about how expensive healthcare was. You can tell it scarred me when I realized just how expensive that one small procedure was. But when they say the words waste, fraud, and abuse, those are just buzzwords. The same way they say DEI to mean black. Waste, fraud, and abuse, they are saying that because they want you to think of an undocumented immigrant or an illegal alien or whatever word that you don't like. You can think about black people. Whatever you need to think about so that you don't think that healthcare is important. That it's not you that is going to lose it, but it's going to be them. That imaginary them that is always coming for your benefit. It makes no sense. There is no waste, fraud, and abuse to the level necessary that they took out for food stamps. And whenever there is waste, fraud, and abuse, which we get a lot of that, Brett Favre, allegedly, the state of Louisiana, allegedly misappropriating the funds for things that they're not supposed to be using the funds for. You never seem to call out that waste, fraud, and abuse. You never seem to call out that waste, fraud, and abuse. Rick Scott, allegedly from Florida, taking Medicaid payments. What happened to those waste, fraud, and abuse? What happened to it? But let's keep on listening, y'all.
Money, and you
but this is the overall problem. What you're mad about is the passage of one big beautiful bill. You guys have to realize that elections have consequences, and your side lost.
Hold on one second. Just on the waste, fraud, and abuse point. Over the last 15 years, SNAP fraud has fallen from 4% to 1%. So there's already very little fraud in the SNAP program, according to the government.
$180 billion is a lot more.
Dude, the Pentagon hasn't passed a single
regardless
audit.
Regardless of that, I mean, people who are on the program right now are going to not have benefits. I think it's interesting because the Trump administration says, there's $6 billion in the emergency fund. $8 billion is needed to cover the month of November. They're saying that they can't use that money because that money needs to be set aside for, hurricanes and other emergencies. But they've been willing to move money around for all kinds of other
for aviation safety.
All kinds of other. They've been willing to move money around for all kinds of other reasons. The question is, why not this one? Tara, let me let Tara have a moment.
We have to all acknowledge that these are political games that are being played by both sides.
Of course, it's politics.
The Democrats could open the government tomorrow, but they are using an old Republican tactic of closing the government to have leverage right now.
Who closed the government? This is the Democrats who closed it.
Okay, but they are doing it for leverage. And
the Democrats
Republicans realize that the Democrats are not
You have the
holding,
number
so
two
now
in the
they are
House.
withholding SNAP
You have the
benefits,
number
which
two
they
House
could also
Democrats
do-
saying that this is a leverage play.
In 2018, they had the same
It's
risk.
2025.
No, in 2018, they had the same risk of losing food stamps, SNAP benefits, and they went into another reserve to cover it during Trump's longest shutdown. Okay?
And that was the Trump administration.
And so the point is that both are withholding funds.
You all
and
are ignoring.
ability.
You all are
If they would
ignoring.
just sit down and actually.
So let's just address what she said, because she's arguing, and I think there's good reason to believe that obviously there are political games being played here. Democrats are keeping the government shut down until they get concessions on health care, and the Trump administration, which in the past has used other funds to cover SNAP benefits, is not doing it now. Why?
Okay, we have to step back for a moment. The Democrats have been getting rolled for the past 9 months by the President of the United States. They haven't had an answer for how to get after what the President has been doing, his historic agenda. So now they have their rally around the flag moment. We're going to stick it to Trump. Who they're really sticking it to is the American people. They're holding this government hostage
let's just address,
let me
address
the government. We can get to these negotiations about SNAP.
Let me re-ask you the question that I asked you, which is that we know that the Trump administration of the past has been willing to use other funds to cover SNAP benefits. We know that the Trump administration of present has been willing to use other funds to cover other emergency needs for people that need to be paid. Why will they not do this on the issue of food on the table for children under 5, children 5 to 17,
very clear of who's going to be impacted.
Adults over 60 years old, people with disabilities? I mean, is the answer as simple?
I want to pause here just so you can understand and see this this poster or whatever they have on the screen. 39% is children, 20% is adults, children, and household. Essentially, children that are over the age of 5, as she was trying to say. 19% for elderly adults, 14% for adults, no children in household, 8% for adults with disabilities. This is 42 million American citizens. Because illegals don't get food stamp benefits funded by federal dollars. They don't get that. This is American citizens, 39% of which children. You might as well just say 59% which are children, because the only way you get it for adults in household is if children are in household, and it's for children over the age of 5. So 59%, the vast majority for children. And they're really at the table trying to, well, you know, Democrats say all you have to do is open the government and then they can get food stamps. What about their health insurance? That's what you keep forgetting. The fight is about health insurance. One ask, give them health insurance. And you know what the Trump administration is saying? Give them cake. Let them eat cake. Let them go without food. Let them starve. You're really, like, not that we should be surprised, because the Republican Party is known to, they don't want to fund free lunch for children in schools. So, I mean, this is not really a big surprise. But, like, for them to be, like, on this panel fighting so blatantly and out in the open not to give food stamps to children, not to give health care to American citizens, it's disgusting. And it makes you think about, like, is this really America? Is this really the country that is the best in the world? Because how can you be the best and be the only first world country that does not give healthcare to your citizens? The only country that you would rather than give healthcare to your citizens, let them go without food too. Let's just make it a little harder. What sense does this make? Y'all let me know in the comments how y'all feeling about this so far, and let's keep on listening to the end of this.
As they're not going to give Democrats anything, and maybe they think that this is going to hurt Democrats more.
If you open up the government, guess what happens? But people get SNAP benefits again. You're pointing the finger at the President of the United States when it's the Democratic Party that is holding the government hostage. Who came out today and said this shutdown has to end?
Able to sort of put the politics on the table.
The Federal Workers Union said this has to end.
You're not willing to acknowledge that politics is at play here.
What I'm saying is that the Democrats are playing politics with this shutdown. Have Republicans done it in the past?
Both sides are playing politics. It's very clear.
Granted, hold on one second. Granted, hold on one second, Harrison. Granted, the Democrats are playing politics with the shutdown.
With American people's lives.
They are playing the very same shutdown game that Trump and Republicans played in his first administration.
Are we dealing with the shutdown of 2018?
But now you're playing the one about it.
I'm just saying, these are political games. Hold on a second.
But you know what? The people on SNAP benefits don't care about that.
I'm asking you.
They don't care about it.
Will you acknowledge that the withholding of SNAP benefits in this moment is something that Trump doesn't have to do?
The administration can look at many ways to solve this problem. Look at what they're doing for our troops. Look at what they're doing for aviation safety. Is there a way to do it? I bet you Secretary Rollins is looking at it.
But the one thing,
can you acknowledge that if the Democrats open up the government, we don't have to have a conversation about
Can I just make a point here?
One second, everybody. Just a second. Let me just say, I appreciate that you acknowledge that there are options on the table. They're not being utilized.
If you could acknowledge that the Democrats can open up the government and this problem won't be a problem.
I literally
You don't think that that one
The
concession
secondary-
to Democrats is okay? Like just
It's not
one
a- it's not just
concession, which is
one
the
concession.
subsidies for the
No.
Affordable Care
Not
Act.
to show-
So premiums
so hold
don't
up this
double.
entire
That's
government?
the one thing they're asking for.
When we got people on furlough?
One
No.
thing.
Hold on,
Can
no,
I
just
just,
Because we
can
know
I
what
just,
this
No,
country's
because we
about.
love that premiums
Because
are
you're
going to
mad at-
double.
because
We
you're
love
mad
it.
that
We
we
love it.
passed
Like, let
one
all
big
these
beautiful
Americans
bill.
suffer.
Just a
I think we're
second.
really
Can I
sad
ask-
about that,
Go
guys.
ahead.
Can I just say how I predict this will end? This will end. I'm not sure who will wave the white flag first. I doubt it will be Trump, but he will end up giving the concession of the subsidies. He's already said it. He knows
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
but he said it.
That was the entire clip. And I just can't get it. I can't get how the one concession the Democrats have asked for, it wasn't for trans people. It wasn't for illegal immigrants. It's for the American citizens to be able to get health care. And Republicans, as you can see here on this panel, are fighting tooth and nail not to give health care. Anything they blame Democrats for giving people health care in the beginning, because he's basically saying, making the point that if you did not give them health care, then they wouldn't be complaining about it. They would be fine because they would have never understood what it felt like to have a better quality of life and not worry about bankrupting just because they got an emergency medical situation or whatever. Y'all, this is the modern day Republican Party. They care about nobody but themselves. They care about nothing but the grift. They care about nothing but enriching themselves in office, leaving office, and then enriching themselves even more. Because guess what? They're now part of that elusive 1% group. While the rest of us, the 99%, we suffer without health care. We suffer without food. We suffer trying to pay our rent. We get the short stick of everything. But y'all tell me what y'all think about all this in the comments. Remember, we're trying to get to 250 subscribers. We're currently at 214 as of this video. It is free to like. It is free to comment. It is free to subscribe. Please do that. Please, I'm asking. I'm begging. I'm not above begging. Unlike Republicans, I will make concessions. Tell me what you're looking for in the comments, and I'll try and give it to you. All right, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe like I was saying before, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.